There are whispers of an ancient brotherhood, keepers of a hidden wisdom so profound that history sought to erase it. Their teachings, shrouded in secrecy, spoke of a path to enlightenment, a way of life so radically different from the world around them that it threatened the very foundations of power. But who were they? And why was their knowledge forbidden? Imagine walking through the desert sands of Judea over 2,000 years ago. The Roman Empire casts its long shadow, and religious authorities wield control with an iron grip. But beyond the reach of kings and priests, in remote caves and hidden sanctuaries, there exists a group of mystics, men and women devoted to purity, to divine wisdom, and to a way of being that defied the material world. These were the Essenes. Some say they were the true guardians of ancient spiritual knowledge, the precursors to secret societies that would later emerge in the shadows of history. Others believe they possessed insights that challenged the established order, truths so powerful they were either destroyed or buried under layers of distortion. The Essenes spoke of a divine connection within each human being, a sacred fire that could be awakened. They practiced rituals that bore striking similarities to later mystical traditions, and they left behind cryptic texts that hint at a deeper understanding of reality itself. But what exactly did they teach? What knowledge was so dangerous that it had to be erased? In this video, we will unveil the hidden wisdom of the Essenes. We'll explore their mysterious origins, their spiritual philosophy, and the practices they used to transcend the limitations of the physical world. We'll decode the lost teachings that some believe hold the key to higher consciousness. And finally, we'll uncover practical ways you can apply their wisdom in your own life today. Prepare to journey into the forgotten corridors of history, where ancient secrets whisper truths that challenge everything we think we know. To understand the Essenes, we must step back in time, into an era of turmoil, prophecy, and hidden wisdom. The Essenes were not an ordinary sect. Unlike the Pharisees and Sadducees, who operated within the public religious framework of ancient Judea, the Essenes lived apart from society, dwelling in isolated communities in the desert, particularly near the Dead Sea. Their way of life was austere, disciplined, and deeply mystical. They practiced daily purification rituals, meditated upon sacred scriptures, and followed a strict code of ethics that set them apart from the world. Ancient historians, such as Flavius Josephus, Philo of Alexandria, and Pliny the Elder, all mentioned the Essenes, describing them as a secretive, ascetic group who sought wisdom beyond the material realm. Yet their origins remain shrouded in mystery. Some believe they were the spiritual successors of the sons of Zadok, an ancient priestly order that rejected the corruption of the Second Temple priesthood. Others speculate that they were influenced by even older mystical traditions, drawing knowledge from Egyptian, Persian, and Chaldean sources. But it was in 1947 that the greatest clue to their existence was uncovered: the Dead Sea Scrolls. Hidden in the caves of Qumran for over 2 millennia, these texts revealed insights into their beliefs, their prophecies, and their perception of reality itself. Within these scrolls, we find descriptions of a cosmic battle between the forces of light and darkness, of a coming teacher of righteousness who would restore divine wisdom, and of a sacred way of living that could elevate the human soul. The Essenes believed that humanity was caught between two opposing forces, the sons of light and the sons of darkness. This was not merely a metaphor for good and evil. It was a spiritual reality woven into the fabric of existence. They saw the material world as a place of illusion, a realm where the ignorant were enslaved by their lower nature, while those who sought truth could awaken to higher consciousness. Many researchers suggest that their teachings had striking parallels to later mystical traditions, Gnosticism, Hermeticism, and even early Christianity. Some theories even propose that Jesus himself was influenced by Essene philosophy, as their practices closely resembled the way of life described in the Gospels. The emphasis on purity, nonviolence, communal living, and profound spiritual wisdom all suggest a connection too deep to ignore. But why were these teachings considered forbidden? The Essenes spoke of an inner path to enlightenment, one that did not require the mediation of religious institutions or external authorities. They believed that the kingdom of heaven was within, and that each person could access divine knowledge directly through deep spiritual practice. This was a dangerous idea, one that threatened the rigid power structures of both religious and political rulers. If humanity could awaken to its divine potential, if people could free themselves from the illusions of the world, what need would there be for temples, priests, or kings? This may be why their teachings were suppressed, erased from mainstream history, and hidden away for centuries. But the wisdom of the Essenes was never truly lost. It remains encoded in ancient texts, waiting for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. In the next section, we will begin unveiling the core teachings of the Essenes, the spiritual principles they lived by, and the forbidden knowledge they sought to protect. The Essenes did not merely believe in spiritual enlightenment, they lived it. Every aspect of their existence was a reflection of their deeper understanding of the universe, the soul, and the divine. They saw themselves as keepers of the light, entrusted with knowledge that could transform human consciousness. But what exactly did they believe? At the heart of their teachings lay a profound spiritual principle. Purity leads to illumination. This was not just about physical cleanliness. It was about the purification of mind, body, and spirit to align with the divine. The Essenes believed that the material world was dense with corruption and illusion, and that only through purification could one break free from its grasp. Their way of life was built upon three sacred pillars. 1. The law of divine order, harmony between heaven and earth. The Essenes saw the universe as an intricate balance between divine forces. Everything, nature, the cosmos, and the human soul, was part of a great sacred order. By living in harmony with this order, one could align with the divine will. This belief manifested in their deep respect for nature. They followed a plant-based diet, abstained from excess and greed, and lived in a way that honored the earth. To them, every element of creation carried divine energy. The sun, the stars, the rivers, and even the wind were seen as living manifestations of higher intelligence. The Dead Sea Scrolls speak of their connection to the natural world, describing how they attuned themselves to the celestial rhythms of the sun and moon. They believed that observing nature's cycles, such as the phases of the moon and the solstices, allowed them to tap into the deeper wisdom of existence. Could it be that modern humanity has lost this connection? That in our pursuit of technology and material gain, we have severed our link to the natural intelligence that once guided our ancestors? The Essenes believed that to regain our spiritual power, we must first restore this lost harmony. 2. The practice of inner alchemy, transforming the self. The Essenes understood something that modern mystics and quantum physicists alike have come to realize. Reality is not fixed. It is shaped by consciousness. They believed that within each person was a divine spark, a hidden potential that, when awakened, could elevate them beyond the limitations of ordinary existence. But to reach this higher state, one had to undergo inner alchemy, the process of transmuting base desires into spiritual wisdom. This was done through strict discipline, fasting, and dietary purification to remove toxins from the body, meditative prayer to silence the distractions of the mind, daily rituals to attune the self to higher frequencies. It is said that some of their practices bore resemblance to Kundalini yoga and Taoist energy work, both of which involve awakening a dormant spiritual force within the body. Was it possible that the Essenes had discovered a similar technique? one that allowed them to channel divine energy and expand their consciousness. This was their greatest secret. The body is a temple, and the soul is the key to unlocking the mysteries of existence. 3. The hidden power of sound and vibration. Another fascinating aspect of Essene knowledge was their use of sacred sound and vibration. They believed that sound had the ability to purify, heal, and connect the soul to higher realms. Ancient texts describe them chanting in unison, using specific tones and frequencies to alter their states of consciousness. This practice is strikingly similar to later mystical traditions, such as Gregorian chanting, Tibetan overtone chanting, and the use of mantras in Hinduism. Recent scientific discoveries have confirmed what the Essenes seem to have known for millennia. Certain sound frequencies have the power to restructure water molecules, heal damaged DNA, and even alter brainwave activity. Could it be that their chants and prayers were more than just rituals? That they were unlocking a hidden power within sound itself? The Essenes understood that everything in existence is vibrating energy, and if you could control that energy, if you could attune yourself to the right frequency, you could transcend the limitations of the material world. The Essenes were not just seekers of truth, they were guardians of a lost spiritual science. They held teachings that defied the rigid doctrines of their time, offering an alternative path to enlightenment, one that bypassed religious institutions and external authority. But what were these teachings, and why were they considered so dangerous? At the core of their mystical tradition was the doctrine of the divine spark, the belief that each human being carried a hidden fragment of the eternal within them. Unlike the mainstream religious views of their era, which emphasized obedience to an external God, the Essenes taught that the true temple of the divine was within the self. This idea was radical. If each individual had direct access to divine wisdom, what need was there for priests, sacrifices, or rigid laws? If enlightenment was an inner process rather than an external ritual, then the power structures of the world were obsolete. Let's explore 3 of their most esoteric and forbidden teachings, the knowledge that may have led to their suppression. The Essenes spoke of an energy they called the living light, a cosmic force that permeated all existence. They believed that this light was the essence of creation itself, and that by aligning with it, one could transcend the limitations of the physical world. This concept is eerily similar to the later teachings of Gnosticism, Kabbalah, and even Eastern traditions like Qi in Taoism, or prana in Hinduism. According to their writings, those who purified themselves could become conduits for this light, experiencing visions, heightened intuition, and even miraculous healing abilities. But how was this done? The Essenes practiced a technique known as the sacred breath, a form of controlled breathing that allowed them to draw in this divine energy and circulate it through their bodies. Some accounts suggest they would rise before dawn, facing the rising sun, and breathe deeply in a rhythmic pattern, absorbing what they called the solar prana. Interestingly, modern scientific studies have shown that deep, rhythmic breathing can alter brainwave states, increase energy levels, and even stimulate the pineal gland, often referred to as the third eye. Could it be that the Essenes had unlocked a secret method of activating higher consciousness? One of the most intriguing aspects of Essene wisdom is their sevenfold path, a system of spiritual refinement that guided the seeker from ignorance to enlightenment. This was not just a moral code, it was a map to higher consciousness. Each stage of this path corresponded to a deeper level of awakening, purification, cleansing the body and mind from toxic influences, harmony with nature, aligning with the divine intelligence of the earth, inner silence, mastering the mind through meditation and contemplation, awakening the heart, developing compassion and unconditional love, receiving the living light, learning to channel divine energy, mastery over illusion, seeing beyond the material world's deception, union with the eternal, merging with the divine source. This path bears a striking resemblance to the 7 chakras in Hinduism, the 7 heavens of Islamic mysticism, and the 7 Hermetic principles. Could it be that this universal spiritual blueprint was encoded into multiple traditions, all stemming from the same ancient source? The Essenes believed that by following this path, one could break free from the wheel of suffering, a concept later echoed in Buddhism and Gnosticism. They saw life not as a series of random events, but as a structured spiritual journey, designed to bring the soul back to its original divine state. Perhaps the most controversial aspect of the Essene tradition is their prophecy of a coming teacher of righteousness, a divine figure who would restore truth to a corrupt world. The Dead Sea Scrolls mention this mysterious figure multiple times, describing him as one who would bring a new covenant, challenge false teachings, and guide the sons of light to victory over darkness. Some scholars believe this figure may have been a real Essene leader, while others suggest that this prophecy foreshadowed the coming of Jesus Christ himself. After all, Jesus' teachings on inner transformation, nonviolence, and the kingdom of heaven within bear a stunning resemblance to Essene beliefs. But here's where things get even more mysterious. The Essenes practiced baptism as a form of spiritual rebirth, long before John the Baptist made it famous. They rejected blood sacrifices, believing that true communion with God was internal, a belief later mirrored in early Christianity. They spoke of a divine presence that dwelled within each individual, rather than in temples, similar to Christ's teachings. If Jesus was influenced by the Essenes, could this explain why his teachings were so controversial? Why he spoke of a hidden wisdom that only the spiritually awakened could understand? And could this be why, after his death, many of his deeper teachings were altered or suppressed by religious authorities? Some even suggest that Jesus himself may have been an Essene, or at least deeply connected to their wisdom. But if that were true, it would mean that the Essenes were not just an obscure sect. They were the keepers of an ancient spiritual tradition that had the power to awaken humanity. The implications are profound. If the Essenes' knowledge had fully survived, if their secrets had been preserved in their entirety, how different would our understanding of spirituality be today? In the next section, we will explore how we can apply their wisdom in our own lives, not just as history, but as a living practice. The Essenes believed that true knowledge was not something to be worshipped, but something to be experienced. And their teachings hold powerful keys to personal transformation, even in the modern world. The Essenes did not seek spiritual knowledge merely for intellectual understanding. They lived their wisdom. They believed that enlightenment was not a distant goal, but a state that could be cultivated through daily practice. And while their communities have vanished, their teachings remain as relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago. But how can we apply their wisdom in our modern world? The answer lies in 4 key Essene practices, powerful methods that can help you reconnect with your higher self, align with the divine, and awaken the hidden potential within you. The Essenes believed that purification was the foundation of spiritual awakening. They practiced daily bathing rituals, fasting, and dietary discipline, seeing the body as a sacred vessel that must be kept pure to receive divine energy. In today's world, purification is just as important, perhaps even more so given the mental, emotional, and physical toxins we are constantly exposed to. To apply this in your life, eat clean, natural foods. The Essenes followed a plant-based diet, emphasizing fruits, vegetables, and grains grown in harmony with nature. Reducing processed foods and chemicals can help restore the body's natural balance. Practice fasting. Even a short fast, such as intermittent fasting or a one-day water fast, can reset the body and increase mental clarity. Purify the mind. The Essenes avoided negative influences, choosing instead to immerse themselves in sacred study, meditation, and contemplation. Reduce exposure to fear-based media, gossip, and distractions that pull you away from inner peace. Use water as a sacred tool. Whether through cold showers, ritual baths, or simply drinking clean water with intention, use water as a means to cleanse and reset your energy. The Essenes practiced conscious breathing as a method of absorbing divine energy, what they called the living light. They understood that breath is not just oxygen, it is life force. Modern science has confirmed that breath control can lower stress, improve focus, and even alter consciousness. But the Essenes went further. They saw breath as a bridge between the physical and spiritual realms, a simple practice to try. At sunrise or sunset, go outside and stand with your feet on the earth. Inhale deeply through the nose for a count of 4, imagining golden light filling your body. Hold for a count of 4, feeling this energy awaken your cells. Exhale slowly for a count of 6, releasing any negativity or stagnant energy. Repeat for at least 5 minutes, focusing on receiving divine energy with each breath. Over time, this practice can increase your intuition, clarity, and inner peace, just as it did for the Essenes. The Essenes saw nature as a living scripture, a sacred text written by the divine. They believed that every tree, river, and mountain carried messages for those who could perceive them. This idea is echoed in many mystical traditions. In Hermeticism, it is said, "As above, so below." In Taoism, sages seek wisdom by observing the natural flow of the universe. And even in modern neuroscience, studies show that time in nature reduces stress, enhances creativity, and improves well-being. To reconnect with this wisdom, spend time in silence among trees, near water, or under the night sky. Walk barefoot on the earth to ground yourself and absorb its energy. Observe the patterns of nature, how the seasons change, how the wind moves, how animals behave. These natural rhythms contain deep spiritual truths. Meditate on the elements, fire, water, air, and earth, and how they relate to your own inner state. The Essenes knew that the external world is a mirror of the inner world. The more attuned you become to nature, the more you will understand yourself. The Essenes believed that words carried power, not just as communication, but as vibrational forces that shaped reality. They practiced chanting, mantras, and sacred affirmations, using sound to shift their consciousness and connect with higher realms. Modern research supports this ancient wisdom. Studies on binaural beats, solfeggio frequencies, and mantra meditation show that certain sounds can activate the brain, heal the body, and elevate consciousness. A practice to try. Speak with intention. Every word you say carries energy. Be mindful of how you speak to yourself and others. Use sacred sounds. Chanting sounds like O-M, A-H-H-U, or Y-H-W-H can create powerful shifts in energy. Experiment with different tones and notice how they affect your state of mind. Create your own affirmations. The Essenes believed that what you speak, you create. Try saying, "I am a vessel of divine light. The wisdom of the universe flows through me. I am aligned with my highest path." Repeating these daily can rewire your subconscious mind and unlock hidden potential. The world we live in today is full of distractions, chaos, and illusions. But the Essenes left behind a blueprint, one that can help us navigate these challenges and reclaim our spiritual sovereignty. By practicing purification, breathwork, connection with nature, and the power of sacred sound, you are not just learning about the Essenes, you are walking the path they walked. These teachings were hidden for centuries, but now they are resurfacing. Perhaps this is not a coincidence. Perhaps you are hearing this message at exactly the right moment because you are being called to remember. The knowledge of the Essenes is not just ancient history, it is a living force, waiting for those who are ready to embrace it. For centuries, the teachings of the Essenes remained hidden, buried beneath layers of history forgotten by the world. But as we have explored, Their knowledge was never truly lost. It has simply waited, like a seed beneath the earth, for the right moment to awaken once more. And perhaps that moment is now. The Essenes were not just seekers of truth. They were way showers, guides for those who yearned to break free from the illusions of the material world and step into a higher reality. Their message was clear. The kingdom of heaven is not a distant paradise. It is within you. We have uncovered their secret doctrines, the living light, the divine energy that flows through all things, the sevenfold path, the stages of awakening that lead to enlightenment, the sacred breath, a forgotten key to unlocking spiritual power, the hidden wisdom of nature, a living book of truth for those with eyes to see, the power of sound and intention, the vibrational force that shapes reality. These teachings were considered dangerous because they liberate the individual. They remind us that true spiritual authority does not belong to any institution. It belongs to the awakened soul. But now, the question is no longer about the past. It is about you. What will you do with this knowledge? Will it remain an interesting historical curiosity? Or will you take the first step in reclaiming the wisdom that was meant to be yours all along? Because if the Essenes were right, if divine truth is not something external but something already within you, then the greatest secret of all is this: you were never meant to be asleep. You were always meant to awaken.